My name's Gage Paul, and this is our Mortal Kombat X Games Outfit Review. Back and bloodier than ever, Mortal Kombat X manages to make some major changes to the series while still holding true to what people love about Mortal Kombat. The small problems I do have with the game are mostly overshadowed by some of the fastest gameplay the series has ever offered. With 24 characters and 3 variations for each, everyone should be able to find a fighter to suit their playstyle in Mortal Kombat X. These variations really add versatility to the characters, and players who take the time to learn each variation for their preferred fighters should have a good shot against almost any matchup. For example, Sub-Zero has a variation that allows you to play more defensively by creating a giant ice shield around yourself. If you'd rather play aggressively, you can pick the variation that gives them ice weapons, or my personal favorite, the one that allows them to create ice clones to freeze his enemies. Even though most of the bread and butter combos do carry over between variations, you'll still need to practice with each if you hope to change it up a lot. Even after I spent a few hours online with Aaron Black and his Outlaw variation, I was a little lost after switching to one of his different ones without practicing. If stage interactables did annoy you in NetherRealm's previous fighting game Injustice, you'll probably be disappointed to see them making an appearance in Mortal Kombat X. Every character interacts with them in the same way now, and players are prevented from spamming them by the stamina bar shown underneath your health. The stamina bar also determines how long you can dash and run. Special moves, X-rays, and fatalities all make a return in Mortal Kombat X, and the combat should feel familiar to fans of previous NetherRealm games. Holding a block button instead of just holding back, as is common in most fighting games, can take a couple of matches to get used to. But soon enough, players will find themselves blocking spears like a pro. Brutalities also add a new way for players to show off. Instead of just punching in a button combination at the end of a match like for a fatality, brutalities require players to do certain things throughout the match to perform them. This can be as simple as running 3 times during a match, or as challenging as doing 30% damage with a certain projectile. Brutalities can be a great way to show off your skill at the game, but if you're not careful, going for a certain brutality might just be what loses you the match. The story in Mortal Kombat X picks up 25 years after the events of Mortal Kombat 9. Using a host of new and old characters, you fight to prevent Quan Chi from bringing back the powerful Shinnok, who is planning to take over Earthrealm. Divided into 12 chapters, each one has you playing as a specific character for about 4 fights. This gives you a good chance to learn the character's moves and abilities before moving on to more difficult fights at the end of the chapter. Unfortunately, the story ends up just feeling like an excuse to try different characters. The narrative is fairly bland and cliche, and most characters' motivations are summed up in a single flashback in their chapter. I was able to finish the story within 6 hours, and it ultimately just felt like a little bit of practice against the AI before diving into the game's multiplayer. Luckily, fighting games are held up by their competitive modes, and Mortal Kombat has an abundance of those. Challenge Towers return with a new mode called Living Towers. Living Towers change at certain intervals and are a good way to keep the game feeling fresh. Not only does it change the opponents you fight, but different modifiers are applied to the towers for an extra challenge. You can also challenge players online to beat your score in different towers, allowing players who feel like fighting AI opponents to stay competitive. Along with the standard online fights and ranked fights, NetherRealm has added a new online game mode called King of the Hill. Players are put into a lobby with other opponents and take turns fighting the current king. If you do beat the king, you become the king yourself and have to see how many fights you can win in a row before you're dethroned by someone else. You can also practice or spectate the current fight while waiting for your turn to fight the king. Test Your Luck mode also returns, which gives players a good break from the intensity of online matches, as they can battle with a set of ridiculous modifiers added. My experience with the Mortal Kombat Online was mixed. I had about half my matches run smoothly, and when things were going well, it almost felt like playing the game offline. But some of the matches almost had a full second of delay with them, and I even had 2 matches just completely lag me out. The netcode is fairly strong for a fighting game, but compared to other current fighting game netcodes like Killer Instinct, there is still some work to be done on it. Factions is also a new addition to the Mortal Kombat series. Every player chooses a faction to side with, and every week the factions go to war. Everything you do in the game earns you faction points, and at the end of the week the faction with the most points wins the war. Winning the war for that week can earn you different rewards like faction-specific fatalities. It is early still, but so far Factions only seems like a neat way to earn some new finishers, and doesn't really provide a huge incentive to keep players coming back to the game. Players can also wander around the crypt using points they've earned to unlock different skins, fatalities, and concept art. If players choose, they can also pay $20 to unlock the crypt completely in one of the game's many microtransactions. Tokens are also available for purchase that allow you to skip the fights in single player, or perform easier finishing moves. And if you didn't pre-order the game to unlock Goro as a character, don't worry, because he'll still appear in your character select screen with the prompt "Press X to buy Goro." Although it may only take 5 hours and a few hundred liters of blood to beat the story, there's enough depth in Mortal Kombat X's other modes to keep me in the fight for a long time. I give Mortal Kombat X a 4 out of 5. What did you guys think of the game? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Be sure to like the video and subscribe to our channel, and thanks for watching.